this is not just a topic, but it's a dynamic system with an incredible potential. The aim of today's webinar is to share information and to empower you all with a deeper understanding of value chain of sheep and goat farming, its mapping, its relevance, and the challenges faced by sheep and goat farmers. And I hope this webinar will be a source of valuable insight for you all. If we talk about the small ruminants, the sheep and goat, they are carrying the relatively more advantage as compared to the large ruminants in terms of short gestation interval, high prolificacy, then small input requirement or feeding requirement, as well as their adaptability to the harsh climatic conditions. The small ruminants, they serve as a financial safety net for the rural residents, and the sector holds a great potential and provides or can improve the nutritional, economic, as well as livelihood security of the rural poor persons. Various studies they suggest that the rising per capita income, urbanization trends, and changing the dietary habits of the people, these are different leading reasons which are fueling the strong and expanding demand for sheep and goat meat. But in spite of lot of opportunities for rural people in this sector, the farmers at the same time, they have to face many hurdles as well as bottlenecks or challenges at the same time in terms of marketing, feeding, breeding, as well as healthcare practices. So here comes the role of value chain or value chain analysis. If we talk about the small ruminant or sheep and goat farming sector or sheep and goat value chain, first of all, I would like to share with you that the majority of the sheep and goat farmers, if we say that is around 70% of the farmers, they belong to small and marginal farmers. And various studies suggest that in this, as the sustainability of livestock sector, it is threatened by climate change. So in this, in order to safeguard the rural economy, there is need to identify the various livestock species or various livestock breeds that are resilient to the climate change. So in this regard, the goats, they has very bright prospects and they are anticipated to as a sustainable animal owing to its very unique features like small size, resistance to diseases. They are having faster feed conversion efficiency. They are having very good adaptability to various harsh climatic conditions. And also with the rising trends, urbanization trends, as well as the changing habits of the people or population, there is rising demand for chivon among the consumers. So there is a very good scope in this sector. If we see the statistics, we are leading, that is our country is leading in the livestock population with a population of around 535.78 million. And if we talk about the goat and sheep population, it's also increasing, and the 41.5% contribution in the total livestock population, they contributed by small ruminants only. Previously, I have discussed that there is lot of opportunities in this sector. Along with this, at the same time, farmers are facing various challenges also, and among those challenges, one of the zoonotic diseases, they are one of the major public health challenges which are faced by the humans, as well as which is a major public health challenge, which is the major loss causing to the human economy. Along with the zoonotic diseases, there are various occupational hazards which are faced by livestock industry. So there is need to address these diseases as well as various challenges like hazards as well as zoonotic diseases to improve the sector as well as to improve its productivity. So here comes the role of value chain analysis. Now question comes, what is value chain? Value chain, it is basically a set of interrelated activities, starting from the production of raw material to processing, distribution, marketing, and until the products reaches to the consumer and it is disposed of. All the activities, these are interrelated and these are involved in entire value chain. Now, what is value chain analysis? Value chain analysis is a mapping of entire value chain or entire system which is involved in the whole farming, and it acts as a diagnostic tool, which means it identifies or it helps in recognizing the sequence of activities in farming, sequence of activities from starting from the breeding to the consumption, and it also identify various risk nodes, which makes the system susceptible to various diseases as well as occupational hazards. So in nutshell, we can say that to explore various marketing opportunities, various linkages, role played by various chain actors, and various strengths which are involved in the sector, as well as weakness, which make the system very susceptible to diseases as well as hazards. Here comes the need of value chain, and it necessitates the value chain analysis, because this is the very important or diagnostic tool which can help in identifying various weaknesses as well as strong points in the system. So for unlocking the success in sheep and goat farming, we can say that the value chain analysis, it plays a very crucial role. Here we can see that the value chain analysis, how it can help the farmers. First, if we see, it can improve the efficiency. How? The one of the primary advantage of value chain analysis is to identify inadequacies, is to identify what are the inadequacies or weaknesses, or we can say lacuna in the system. So by recognizing the various activities or risk nodes which makes the system susceptible to diseases or any weaknesses, the farmer can pinpoint the areas where the improvement can be made. So ultimately the efficiency can be improved. Second relevance of value chain analysis is quality enhancement. As we know that ensuring the quality of sheep and goat products is paramount important in competitive market, as it allows the farmers to assess and to improve the quality of products at each stage. So here they can improve the quality of their products and can get better profits. Third most advantage of value chain analysis can be the cost reduction strategies. So we are very well aware that cost control is a very critical aspect of profitability. So it aids in identifying various bottlenecks and unnecessary expenses involved in the whole entire value chain, where the cost can be reduced and we can say productivity can be ultimately improved. And next most important, we can say advantage of value chain analysis is market access and positioning. Means value chain analysis, it provides insight into marketing dynamics. The farmers, they can identify the various marketing opportunities. They can sync with various recent market trends and can gain the competitive edge. Next is risk management. By the value chain analysis or by identifying various activities involved in the value chain, the sheep and goat sector, they can identify various risks from involved in the various risk involved in the value chain, starting from the diseases and to the marketing fluctuations. So the value chain analysis, it helps to identify and mitigate risk and ultimately can help the farmers to improve their productivity. And the next one is to collaborative opportunities. So value chain analysis, it is a collaborative network that involves various actors like farmers, processors, distributors, and then through collaborative efforts and their partnership, the farmers can enhance their market reach through, they can share their resources and address their various challenges collectively. So ultimately, this is that's why we can say that it is an unlocking success in sheep and goat farming. We have studied the value chain mapping or value chain analysis in sheep and goat farming. There are various tools or software, we can say, to identify or to map the value chain. So we have used a Sankematic software which is available freely online. So we have used this software to map or to identify various input as well as output flow in the chain. So now coming to the value chain of sheep and goat farming, here we can see that if we talk about the input value chain, then there are various variants of this input value chain. We have studied these aspects under the input value chain. First is live animals, feed and fodder, water resources, management services, healthcare services, information services, transport system, and miscellaneous inputs. So these are the different aspects which are involved in the value chain, starting from the production of animals to processing, transportation, and ultimately to the end consumers. So this is the Sankematic diagram which we have prepared or we have developed or generated through Sankematic software. Here we can see that this picture is showing the flow of inputs. Here input is live animal. So here we can see that among live animals, we have studied the source of live animals among farmers, where they procure their animals. And under this, we found that the various value chain actors like fellow farmers, traders, and fellow farmers alone, they were the different actors involved in the value chain from where the farmers they were procuring their animals. Now we have asked them what was the criteria of purchasing new animals. So the majority of the farmers here we can see that they were only purchasing the animal by identifying their physical appearance. Nobody or only few of the farmers they were caring about the record of the farmer, which is very important to previous as we know that the record maintaining is very important to for the profitability as well benefit of any farm or success of any farm. But the farmer they were on 12% of the farmers they were maintaining records of the animal, or that too only the memory based. And the farmers who were purchasing new animals from the different actors, chain actors, they were only procuring it on the basis of physical appearance of the animal. So this was the only criteria which were very common in the study area. Now we have studied about the production system. In production system, we have seen that the study we have studied the value chain of Punjab state, and this under this the production system we have seen that grazing was the most common production system, means extensive system of rearing animals was the most common among farmers, because the most of the farmers they were landless or they were having the low resources. As in first slide I have discussed that majority, that is 70% of the farmers, they are small and marginal farmers who were rearing sheep and goat. So there are many reasons, maybe lack of awareness and lack of knowledge about the scientific feeding practices among farmers also. This can be reason. But for the resource poor farmer, this was the only preferable method for rearing their animals. And among the type of feeds offered to the animal, we have seen that the pasture forage was the common practice, common feeding practices among the farmers. And they mainly preferring the roadside grazing, riverside grazing, and then forest area in their adjoining areas. So this was the feeding, we can say the type of feed they were offering at preferably. And during the winter season, especially when there is scarcity of fodder, they were purchasing hay, dry fodder. It means they were purchasing hay from different traders, or we can say different manufacturers, and they were feeding their animals with the hay only. And surprisingly, no one was feeding the concentrate feed to their animals because of lack of awareness as well as lack of financial resources to them. And only 11% of the farmers they were feeding cereal grains to their animals. And in case of supplements, only 40% of the farmers they were feeding supplements like mineral black salt and black salt mineral mixture. No one was feeding their animals mineral mixture. And some of them were also feeding jaggery to their animals because they believe that black salt it can improve their digestion. So few of the farmers they were feeding such type of supplements here. And when we in talking about the water, which is water is the important input we can say. So in the shed only there were different sources like bore well, tap water they were using. And 28% of the farmer they were having no provision in their shed because they whole day they take their animal to the grazing. And in case of while grazing, we have asked what is the source of water. Then they said that water streams, rivers, canals, they were the mainly preferable source of water intake among their animals. So this is the graph showing that the farmers, they were taking their animals for in extensive system in these type of sites like roadside grazing, riverside grazing, Open fields means they were feeding their animals on crop residue also when the fields are open after post harvesting fields. And then like this. And here we can see that do you allow the mixing of other animal farmers flock with their while grazing. They say that around 70% of the farmer they were following this type of practice, mixing their herds with one another, because they are not aware about the disease outbreak or infection spread among or between them. So there is need to address this thing also. This is a major risk point where the disease can spread from one farm to another farm. By studying these things at each point, the farmers they can identify various risk node and activities which can make their system susceptible to various diseases. Like here, by mixing their flock with other flock, there is very much chances of disease spread among them. So these were the different feed and fodder sources which were explored during the study. These were different tree leaves, or this is the hay, and this type of practices they were following in our state. And these type of sources like river, canal, bore well, these are type of water sources they were providing to their animals. And also when we asked that how often you provide water during grazing, then most of the farmers they were saying that as per the availability, the water is provided to their animals as per the availability, means they are not very aware about the importance of giving water to their animal. So here during grazing, how often do you provide animals to the majority of the farmers said as per the availability of the water, they provide animals to their animals with the water. Now coming to the managemental services, here we can see most of the farmers they were or self or their family members were taking care of their animals, and few of them they were having or hiring labor for taking care of their animals. And when we have asked whether their labor look after another species also, then the majority were said that no, only they were not because here is only the risk involved, because if one person is taking care of large animal also, and at the same time the small animal also, as well as poultry also, then again there is chance or risk of infection spread among the different species. So when we asked, do you record or maintain any record, then majority of the farmers they said that they were not maintaining any record of feeding, breeding, healthcare of their animal, and only 13% of the farmers they were maintaining record only in the memory, not in written record. So shed cleaning, in case of managemental services, we ask them whether they proper follow the cleaning of their sheds and their housing of their animals. Yes, majority of them were cleaning their sheds properly. And in case of healthcare services, here we can say that good quantity of farmer they were self-medicating their animals, and followed by veterinarians, and as well as veterinary inspectors were approached in case of any health treatment they required. In case of vaccination, majority of the farmer they were not following any proper vaccination or not vaccinating their animals. And in case of ethnoveterinary, we have seen that the most of the farmers they were providing ethnoveterinary practices, means they were using indigenous knowledge to treat their animals. Here we can see that 76, which is a huge number of farmers, they were using ethnoveterinary practices only to treat their animals. It might be due to the lack of means lack of access to veterinary services to their villages, or might be any other reason. Then deworming, most of the farmers they were not doing any deworming to their animals. And the ectoparasitic control was also not followed by most of the farmers, means farmer they were rearing their sheep and goat in very traditional, very conventional way, not following any proper healthcare protocol also. So this might be the reason for the low productivity of their animals also. So we through this chain we identified that what exactly farmers are doing and what practices they are following. So here we can, by identifying and recognizing these activities and sequence of activities, we can aware the farmer or advise them what to do what not to do. Then as in our study, the chain actors were veterinarians also. So they were also asked about whether they vaccinate animals of their village or their area. So all were doing proper vaccination or were following proper healthcare protocol for their area. Among inputs, the most important input was the information services, from where the farmers they gain information regarding rearing of their animal, regarding management of their animals. So among social media, means they were using various YouTube channels as well as various Facebook groups or WhatsApp groups to gain information, and the mobile phones as well as TV. These were the major media where they which were used by the farmer to take any information regarding their animals rearing as well as their healthcare, breeding and feeding activities. So mobile phone as well as TV were the major media which are used by the farmers. In case of market related information and health related information, the most of the farmers they were not gaining market related information as well as healthcare related information properly. And in miscellaneous services, one of the common practices which we have seen in our area is udder cover. The farmers, like in this picture also we can see, they have applied the udder cover. This cover is used by the farmer to avoid unnecessary suckling by their kids. So this is a practice. This is a cover made by farmer themselves, or it can they can purchase it from market also. So among input services, they are doing this practice of covering udder with the udder cover, and not other practices like identification, tagging, ear tagging, etc. They were not doing properly, but they were following this practice only. Among the transportation system, the most of the farmers they said that they do not have any access to a vehicle. So majority of the farmers they said that the purchaser they come at their doorstep to make any purchase as well as to sell their animal. They themselves come at their doorstep. And access to government schemes, insurance and subsidies. So in our state, that is in Punjab state, the majority of the farm, we have surprisingly found that no one was availing the services or availing the these type of schemes or insurance benefit from the for especially for the sheep and goat farmers. So this was the entire input value chain which was studied, and we have generated a schematic diagram which is showing the input flow of the entire goat value chain. So previously I have shown you the separate schematic diagrams, and here I have compiled it in a one schematic diagram regarding live animals, feed and fodder, water, management, healthcare, information, and miscellaneous services. So these are the different inputs which are involved in sheep and goat value chain. Now coming to the output value chain. So in case of output, or we can say products of the sheep and goats, milk, live animals, waste, carcass, and wool. These are the main products which we can get from sheep and goat. This schematic diagram is showing about the flow of output. How the output like milk, live animals, sick animals, and meat, how what farmer do with that, with these products. So when the regarding milk is concerned, the most of the farmers they said that this yes they sell the milk, but to whom they sell the milk, there is only as the milk marketing opportunities or milk market for goat milk is not very much prominent as compared to we can talk about the cow as well as buffalo milk. As in case of goat milk, there is no exclusive goat milk market in our area, or we can say in India also. So the exclusive customers like dengue sufferers, it is a very much common practice that in case of dengue sufferers, the people they used to drink the goat milk. So the farmers from villages, they used to sell the milk to exclusive customers also, and also some farmers, they were selling their milk to neonatal wards also, as we know the importance of goat milk. And no one was doing value addition of the milk. Here also we are lacking that no farmer, they were involved in the value addition of the milk. Now coming to the live animals, so sale of to whom they sell the animals. So they usually the fellow farmers, local traders, butchers, they are involved in the selling or taking the animals from the farmers. Now, surprisingly, here we asked that whether they sell the sick animals also. Yes, 41% of the farmers, they said that when the animal gets sick, they sold the or sell them to the butchers. So here is the risk involved also, as the sick animal are sold to the butchers and they are consuming by the community or people. So here also a very much public health challenge, we can say that. So this is need to be controlled. And also the butchers which are slaughtering the animals, they must have to taken the health certificate of the animal before slaughtering. Like that activities must be followed, but it's not practicing in the field. In case of meat output, very low number of means very negligible farmer, they were direct selling the meat to the consumers. Only they were selling live animals to the consumers or the butchers. So here I have added the picture of a goat mandi, which is there are various mandi means marketing. Various goat markets are there prevalent in Punjab, in our state. And this one is the one of the biggest goat market in Bhatinda district. So this is the one of the largest platform to make exchange or to make sale and purchase of the goat. So here also the people come and sell and make the sale and purchase of their animals. Regarding the output, this Sankey diagram is depicting about the output flow of waste, carcass, skin and wool. What farmer do about this waste and how they manage the waste. So there is no proper waste management was done by the farmers. Only they were applying directly the waste to the fields, as well as some of the farmer, they were throwing simply it to the heap. There is no proper waste management. And yes, 32% of means very less number of farmers, they were also selling the manure to various customers. And regarding the carcass disposal, which is again a very important means we can say here the risk is very much risk is involved. So this is only this is again become the important aspect of value chain, the carcass disposal, how they dispose the carcass. So 51 amount means half of the farmers we have studied, they were saying that they properly bury the dead animal, whereas 28%, which is a great concern here, they were throwing it in open also. And surprisingly or unfortunately, we can say the 19% means some of the farmers, they were also selling the dead animals to the butchers also. So here also comes the risk of selling dead animal to the butchers, and again they are consumed by the consumer. So here also the risk is involved, which needs to be addressed or needs to be taken care. But in case of skin and wool, there is in our state, in Punjab, there is very much less scope of marketing the skin as well as wool of the animal. That's why among sheep and goat, the goat rearing is much more common in our area. Now, the traders' practices, traders were also studied or consulted during the study of value chain. And here, one of the important aspect, or we can say parameter, is that disinfectant of vehicle as well as themselves during the farm visit. So, majority of the means 80% among five, only four traders, they only one trader, they said that they disinfect their vehicle during the whenever they enter the any farm, but majority were not following any proper protocol of disinfecting their vehicles. So there is again a chance of spreading infection from one farm to another farm, as the traders, they were keep visiting to different farms in a day to collect or to purchase different animals. And in case of butchers practice, what is the place of slaughtering. Then due to lack of slaughter facilities, so only backyard slaughtering was more prevalent here. And butchers also, no one was concerned about the health certificate of the animal. They were slaughtering it as such whenever they received it. So here also a risk involved in this, as there must be a proper check in butcher shop also, so that any to control the public health challenge. So this is the entire value chain we have compiled here: milk, live animals, sick animals, meat, waste, carcass, skin, and wool. So this schematic diagram is showing what people are doing with their products, and what kind of activities, in what kind of activities they are following and they are involved, and whether they are doing right practices or there is need of improvement. Here we can tell, or we can clearly see that what are the risk nodes, where are the risk is involved, and where we need to intervene or address, and where we need to aware the farmers regarding the farmers, as well as for the to ensure the wholesome meat as well as quality product to the consumers. So along with the value chains, we have studied various bottlenecks. What are the challenges? What are the hurdles involved in the sheep and goat value chain? And for this bottleneck analysis, we have used analytical hierarchy process. With the help of this methodology, we have ranked or identified various constraints, and likewise, in case of bottlenecks faced by small ruminant value chain actors, we have selected 5 types of constraints: input supply constraint, production constraints, marketing constraints, processing constraints, as well as miscellaneous constraints. So under each type of categories, we have selected 5 statements, and these statements were selected after consulting with various experts from in sheep and goat sector. So likewise, these were the constraints we have selected finally and were presented to the farmers. And in case of AHP, which is a methodology, we have calculated the priority weights. Here we can see that among 5 types of constraints, the processing and transportation constraint was ranked 1 by the farmer. Means the farmers, this type of constraint were the major constraint which were facing by the farmer, followed by input supply as well as production constraint. Now coming to one by one, among input supply constraint, here we can see that this IC5, which was IC5 was lack of access to credit, subsidy, insurance, and insurance support. So this was one of the major constraint among input supply constraint which were encountered by the farmers. In case of production constraint, farmer, they believe that, or they ranked high cost of concentrate feed as the major constraint, or they ranked it 1. So this was the reason they were not offering any concentrate feed there to their animals. Among marketing constraints, they said that non-uniform method of selling sheep and goats. This is the one of the major constraints they were facing, and said that they were exploited by the middlemen or traders because there was not any uniform method of selling sheep and goats. Only the preferably on the basis of physical appearance. They were usually exploited by traders, and the innocent farmers, they were not gaining any profit from this sector. Now, coming to the processing and transportation constraint, there is inadequate slaughtering facility at the village level. So this constraint or hurdle was ranked 1 by the farmers. And among miscellaneous concentrates, they were saying that low dressing percentage of local breeds of sheep and goat was the one of the major hurdle which are faced by the value chain actors. So now coming to the conclusion of this today's topic, that is value chain analysis. Here we have identified various value chains. So farmers, traders, fellow farmers, butchers, and ultimately consumers. These were the various actors which are involved in sheep and goat value chain, directly or indirectly. Among the production system, we have seen in the schematic diagram or picture depiction that most of the farmers, they were relying on extensive system of that is grazing system to feed their animal due to lack of the pasture, lack of resources, as well as being landless, they were preferring only the grazing system. With the majority of the farmer, they were taking their animal for grazing. Then majority of the farmers, they were following the ethno-veterinary practices. Means ITKs were used by the farmers in their villages to treat their animals. It might be due to less number of veterinary experts in the particular small ruminant sectors. Because we have expert, we always, being a veterinarian also, we always ignore the specifically the sheep and goat sector. So we are having very less health specialists in sheep and goat sector. And the small ruminant farmers, they mostly rely on selling of live animals rather than milk, because there is no exclusive market for goat milk still in our country. Some farmers, they also sell the milk to exclusive customer as the dengue sufferers. It is a very much common practice that people used to drink goat milk when they infected with this type of infection. And surprisingly, 1/5 of the farmers, they were selling sick and dead animals to the butcher, which is a major risk, or we can say public health concern here. Lack of access to credit, insurance support, high cost of feeding, unorganized marketing, because except the milk and chicken, we can say, the every livestock product, they are having less access to market, or we can say unorganized marketing in for every other product in the market. These were the different bottlenecks we can say hurdles which are involved in entire value chain. So ultimately, we can say this value chain analysis, it can prove as a powerful tool to identify various weaknesses as well as as well as strength in the system. So, and help the farmer which are seeking to thrive in competitive and dynamic industry. Because by understanding and optimizing each stage of value chain, the farmer can improve their efficiency, they can reduce their cost of production, they can enhance their quality of products, as well as they can position themselves in the market. So what is the way forward? Since this sector is witnessing a significant growth, so this is the right time for the government to intervene and formulate policies for the sustainable development of sheep and goat sector. Secondly, we must focus on facilitating marketing linkages. As the problem, whenever the farmer, they have to compete in the market, they have to ensure they have must have any market access. They must have knowledge about the marketing trends and marketing intelligence. Here comes the role of marketing intelligence also. So we need to focus, or we need to strengthen or establish proper market for live animal as well as meat of the sheep and goat. Then, as the majority of the farmer, they were using ethno-veterinary practices. So there is dire need for documentation as well as validation of ITKs or ethno-veterinary practices also. Improving the healthcare services by deploying the specialists or health experts of sheep and goat, and upgrading the veterinarians' knowledge regarding these particular sector is vital for growth of these sectors. Now, last but not the least, the promotion of extension advisory services to upgrade the knowledge and skills of the farmers is the need of our to strengthen or to make to develop, or we can say strengthen the sustainability of these sheep and goat sectors. So thank you very much.